collection has changed a lot over the last few years, and in this new series, I'm going to take you through my entire collection, one section at a time, and in today's episode, we're going to take a look at and discuss the Nintendo Switch collection. So what is the purpose of this video? The purpose of this video is not to show off my collection. What I hope that you can get out of this video is to learn about tons of awesome games on the Nintendo Switch that maybe you've never heard of, games you didn't even know existed, games that are maybe a little bit pricey now, as well as a ton of hidden gems and other games that I want to recommend to you from my own collection. But before we start talking about the games and some other numbers that I want to go over with you, let me kind of go over what my background is with the Nintendo Switch and where it all started. So my Nintendo Switch collection has actually changed a lot. At its peak, I had almost 350 games in my Switch collection. Now I've since sold almost 150 games from my collection because I wanted to trim down the collection to just the games in my collection that I like and the games that I want to play, as well as some of the games that I haven't played yet that I want to get to eventually. So I've really tightened and slimmed down the collection to be a collection of just really awesome games, at least to me, really awesome games. Now total, I have 200 games in my Nintendo Switch collection, and they are all considered complete in box, which of course, with Switch games, complete in box often means just a box and a cartridge, right? You typically don't get a manual or any other extras, but in some cases you do. Now the total estimated value of my entire Switch collection at the time of this video, and it is based off price charting, so it's probably worth a little bit more if you go by eBay prices, and that estimated value is $6,945. Now, before I sold almost 150 games, it was actually worth closer to $10,000 because a lot of the games that I sold were pretty pricey and expensive limited release games. Now, next up, I want to go over quickly the 6 most expensive games in my Nintendo Switch collection because, you know, maybe you're out and about and you find these games for cheap and you can snag them for a good price, or you know, it's a good way for you to know what some of the more expensive Switch titles are to look for. So let's go ahead and go over that right now. Here we go with the 6 most expensive games in my Nintendo Switch collection. Now I kind of cheated because it's actually 7 games, but 2 of them are together in a combo pack. Now, one thing I do want to point out is, again, these prices are going to be based on price charting, and they're going to be at the time of this recording. So by the time you watch this video, these prices will have gone up or they will have gone down. And of course, eBay prices are going to be a little bit different, but price charting should have us in the ballpark. Now I'm going to go from the least expensive of the most expensive games to the most expensive. So here we go. Salt and Sanctuary, estimated value around $76. Oniken plus Odalus Collection, estimated value around $82. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, estimated value around $102. Ikaruga around $115. Turok 1 and 2 double pack, estimated value around $122. And the most expensive game in my Nintendo Switch collection is this particular version of The Messenger, worth around $162. Okay, so we have a stupid amount of games to get through here. Okay, so with that being said, here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to split it up between the games that I have played, and I'll have just a little bit to say on each game, and then the games that I have not played we will cover after the games that I have played. Obviously, if you want to learn more about a particular game, I highly encourage you to look it up on YouTube or Google to learn more, because, I mean, we could spend hours and hours and hours talking about all these games. So, with all that out of the way, get ready, because we're about to move through these rapid fire style. Rogue Legacy is a super fun 2D action platformer roguelike. ARMS, a very unique and original boxing game from Nintendo. Cathedral is a fantastic retro-inspired Metroidvania action-adventure game. Party Planet, pretty decent little party game with some fun mini-games in it to play with up to 4 players. Poi Explorer Edition is a pretty good hidden gem 3D platformer. Phoenotopia Awakening is an epic 40 to 50 hour retro-inspired action-adventure game. 88 Heroes 98 Heroes Edition is a very unique 2D platformer with a very fun premise. The Angry Video Game Nerd 1 and 2 Deluxe is a super fun retro-inspired 2D run-and-gun platformer. Cat Quest, a really fun action RPG where you play as a cat. Darkest Dungeon Ancestral Edition, a very, very dark and depressing, super difficult RPG. Pokemon Legends Arceus, a Pokemon game that after 20 hours I couldn't play it anymore. Portal Knights is a super fun Minecraft-like game but with more emphasis on combat and exploration. Rad Rogers Radical Edition, this is a pretty cool and fun little 2D action run and gun platformer. Rayman Legends Definitive Edition, this is literally, in my opinion, one of the best 2D platformers ever made. Resident Evil Revelations Collection, two fantastic Resident Evil games. Dead Cells, one of my all-time favorite indie games, one of the best action roguelike games in my opinion. Death's Gambit Afterlife is a super fun Metroidvania Souls-like game. Demon's Tier Plus is a really fun roguelike game that also sort of reminds me of Gauntlet a little bit. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is one of the best 2D platformers on the Nintendo Switch. Duck Game is a super fun 2D arena-style run-and-gun game for up to 4 players. Hilarious game. Dungreed is a really fun 2D retro-inspired roguelike game. Skyrim. You guys know what Skyrim is. Elliot Quest is a fun 2D action-adventure game where you use a bow. The End is Nigh is a tough-as-nails 2D precision fast-paced platformer sort of like Super Meat Boy. Enter the Gungeon is a fantastic dungeon-crawling run-and-gun roguelike game. Forager is a super fun and addicting game. The best way I know how to describe it is Legend of Zelda combined with Minecraft. Freedom Planet I am actually currently playing. It is a 2D action platformer that plays almost just like old school 2D Sonic games. Go Vacation is a pretty fun little compilation game with a ton of different games, sort of like Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resort. Guacamelee 1-2 Punch Collection is Guacamelee 1 and 2, and these are fantastic action-adventure Metroidvania games. Helmut, the Badass from Hell is a really unique roguelike game. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon is a retro Castlevania-inspired action platformer. Mario Tennis Aces, super fun arcade tennis game with the Nintendo theme. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is the latest entry in the Ultimate Alliance series, and it is a lot of fun with a ton of content. Max the Curse of the Brotherhood is a pretty cool little 2D action-adventure game. Metroid Dread, in my opinion, is probably the best 2D Metroid game ever made. It is fantastic. Minecraft. No explanation needed. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is the Switch port of New Super Mario Bros. U, and it is a fantastic 2D platformer. N++ is a super difficult, precision, fast-paced platformer, sort of like Super Meat Boy. My Friend Pedro is a very quirky and unique run-and-gun 2D action-adventure game. Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden is a really fun, tactical strategy RPG, sort of like XCOM. Moonlighter is a fantastic roguelike action-adventure game where you're a shop owner by day and a dungeon delver by night. Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom is, in my opinion, one of the greatest indie games ever made. This game is a damn near masterpiece. Play it. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity and Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition, both fantastic games, but I like Age of Calamity quite a bit more of the two. Iconoclast is a really good 2D action-adventure game with a fantastic story. It'll Do 2 is a really good Zelda-like game. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is a fantastic 3D Kirby platformer, and I think it's one of the best Kirby games to come out in a long time. Kunai is a super fun 2D action-adventure Metroidvania that's also a run-and-gun, and it's very quirky and just such a hidden gem. Legend of K Anniversary is the Switch remastered version of the Legend of K, and it's a fantastic action-adventure game. Oniken plus Odalus Collection. Oniken and Odalus are both two really good retro-inspired games. One is inspired by Castlevania, and one is inspired by games like Contra and things of that nature. Fantastic games. Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. This is a fantastic compilation of a lot of classic games that you can play with friends and family. The Trine Ultimate Collection. The Trine series is a really good multiplayer action-adventure puzzle game. Unbox Newbie's Adventure is a really quirky and unique 3D platformer where you play as a box. Undertale is a game that is almost impossible to explain. It's just one of those games you gotta experience. It's just super quirky, super weird, hilarious, and fantastic. Val Ferris is a super difficult, heavy metal, super gory run and gun action game. Victor Vran is sort of a dungeon crawler type game, kind of like Diablo. You can play it cooperatively with up to 2 people and it's a lot of fun. West of Loathing is a fantastic and hilarious RPG with stick figure black and white graphics. This is probably one of the funniest games I think I've ever played. Wizard of Legend is a really solid roguelike game where you play as a wizard. Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap is a fantastic remake of a Sega classic. Wonderling DX is a super unique and fun and addicting 2D platformer, but one where you play as a Goomba-like creature with limited movement. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, you guys know what this is, one of the greatest games ever made. Astral Chain, a really fun and unique action game from Platinum Games. Blasphemous is a phenomenal Metroidvania Souls-like game with some of the best pixel art and pixel art animation I've ever seen in a video game. Chasm is a phenomenal Metroidvania game that you've got to play. Luigi's Mansion 3 is the 3rd and most recent entry in the Luigi's Mansion series, and I think it is one of the best in the series. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is a tactical strategy RPG that I feel like not enough people gave a chance. It is a hidden gem. Fantastic game, and I still need to play the sequel. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, best Mario Kart game ever made, a must-own game for any Switch owner. Mario Strikers Battle League is a phenomenal arcade soccer game. Salt and Sanctuary is a true 2D Souls-like game. This is probably the most Dark Souls inspired 2D game you can ever play. It is basically like playing a 2D version of Dark Souls. Octopath Traveler is actually a really good RPG, and I'm not a big RPG guy. I really enjoy this one. Still need to beat it though. Oceanhorn is a fantastic Zelda-like game inspired by Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker. Axiom Verge and Axiom Verge 2 are 2 absolutely phenomenal Metroidvanias with fantastic soundtracks. You gotta play these games. Yoshi's Crafted World is a super fun 2D platformer with Yoshi. Correct me in the comments, I could be wrong, but Ys Origin is, I believe, a remake of an older Ys game, and this is a fantastic action RPG. I had a lot of fun with this one. Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Donna is also a fantastic action RPG with a really good story. The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus is probably one of my favorite roguelike games ever made. I have put probably close to 100 hours into this one. Children of Morta is another great roguelike game that plays like a dungeon crawler. You have a ton of different characters to pick from and it can be played cooperatively. Ni no Kuni is an RPG I haven't put a lot of time into, but what I did put into, I really enjoyed it. Nintendo Labo 3 and 4, meh. No More Heroes is the Nintendo Switch remaster of the Wii release, and it is a really fun action game. Paper Mario Origami King is one of my favorite games on the Nintendo Switch, and it is my second favorite Paper Mario game. I think this game is phenomenal. Owlboy is a beautiful and super fun 2D action adventure game with a fantastic story. Overcooked and Overcooked 2, some of the best co-op experiences, as well as an experience where you're going to be screaming and yelling and cussing at whoever you're playing with. This is the Japanese physical release of Okami because Capcom was so stupid that they didn't release it physically in North America, but this is a fantastic remaster of a PS2 classic. The Messenger is a phenomenal 2D action game that is directly inspired from the Ninja Gaiden series. The Adventure Pals is a super fun 2D action adventure game that is definitely inspired by Adventure Time. Bayonetta 1 is a over-the-top and just blast of an action game. Bomb Chicken is a very challenging and unique action puzzle platformer. Cruisin' Blast might be one of my favorite arcade racing games in recent years. It is insane, over the top, and just so much fun. Super Bomberman R is a really fun Bomberman game with a fun single player mode and just a blast of a multiplayer mode. No pun intended. Super Epic The Entertainment War is a really fun and unique Metroidvania that makes fun of greedy corporations and greedy video game practices. Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which includes Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Such an awesome release. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. This was the Switch remaster of Super Mario 3D World with a ton of extra content with Bowser Fury. Fantastic 3D platformer. Super Mario Maker 2. Basically endless replay value here. Playing other people's Mario levels is so much fun. Super Mario Odyssey, in my opinion, is the best 3D Mario game ever made. Terraria is hands down one of my favorite games of all time. I've probably played this game on various consoles and PC for 500 to 1,000 hours. I love it so much. Tales of Iron is a very difficult and fun Souls-like 2D action-adventure game. Superland is actually one of the best games that I've played in the last few years. It is so good and nobody talks about it, and it's really a shame. You gotta check out this hidden gem. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, what else is there to say? It is the best Smash Bros. Game ever released. Super Meat Boy, the indie game that got me into indie games. It is a super difficult, fast-paced precision platformer that will really test your skills as a gamer. Super Mario Party, a really fun and solid Mario Party game, and it's the debut Mario Party game for the Nintendo Switch. Triangle Strategy is a fantastic strategy tactical RPG with a phenomenal story. I love this game. Tiny Barbarian DX is an incredibly difficult retro-inspired 2D action game. Turok and Turok 2, the HD remastered versions for the Nintendo Switch, such a fantastic first-person shooter series. Agalos is a super fun retro-inspired Metroidvania action-adventure game that sort of reminds me of games like Wonder Boy and along those lines. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is a phenomenal puzzle game. Cyanide and Happiness Freakpocalypse Episode 1. This is a point-and-click adventure game with extremely crude and offensive comedy, and I really enjoyed it. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee are the Let's Go series remakes of Red and Blue, and it's it's pretty fun. It's not bad. Rain on Your Parade is a really fun puzzle game where you play as an asshole cloud that's just making everybody's day terrible. Regions of Ruin, the best way I know how to describe this is it's almost like a 2D version of Skyrim with some Minecraft and Terraria thrown in. It's a pretty fun game. There's a lot of depth to it. Reverie Sweet Ez Edition. The only way I know how to describe this is if you took The Legend of Zelda and Earthbound and combined them together into a video game. It's a lot of fun. Runner 3, part of the Runner series. It is an auto runner platformer, and it's pretty challenging and a lot of fun. Slay the Spire is a roguelike, I guess you could say it's a roguelike RPG, but one where you use cards and it has a deck building element to it. It's a blast. Snipper Clips Plus, this is a super unique two-player co-op puzzle game that I highly recommend everybody check out. Sonic Forces, not the best 3D Sonic game ever made, but I thought it was okay. I played through it and beat it. It was alright. Sparklight is a really fun roguelike game that sort of plays like The Legend of Zelda in some ways. Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy is a HD remaster of a GameCube and PS2 classic. I believe it came out on the Xbox too, but it's a 3D action-adventure game, sort of like Zelda, but very unique. Awesome game. Splatoon 2, the second game in the Splatoon series. I freaking love the single player campaign, especially the Octo expansion DLC campaign. Super fun. SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated is the remake of this 3D platforming classic from the GameCube era. If you love 3D platformers, you gotta check this one out. SteamWorld Dig 2 is the second entry in the SteamWorld Dig series, and it is I don't even know how to explain it. A digging Metroidvania. I don't know how to explain it, but it's an awesome game. Stardew Valley, aka video game crack. One of the most addicting games I think I've ever played, and I love it so much. Also, that front cover is beautiful. Ikaruga, one of my favorite shoot-'em-ups ever made. It is phenomenal. Ring Fit Adventure is a surprisingly good workout and kind of fun in a way. I really enjoy it. Scribblenauts Showdown is the Scribblenauts series attempt to do a party game in the vein of Mario Party, and this actually has some pretty fun moments to it. Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Shovel Knight's one of the best indie games ever made, and this is the ultimate edition of the game with all content, and it is a blast. Slain Back from Hell is a super gory 2D action game that is incredibly difficult, but so much fun. 4 games in the Shantae series. We have Shantae, Shantae Risky's Revenge, Shantae Half Genie Hero, and Shantae and the 7 Sirens. These are fantastic 2D action-adventure games with platforming elements, and some of them have Metroidvania elements. Highly recommend getting into this series. The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. This is the remake of Link's Awakening, and it is phenomenal. Really enjoyed this one. Lego City Undercover is my favorite Lego game ever made. It's basically Grand Theft Auto combined with Lego. It has a great story, and it is hilarious. Little Nightmares Complete Edition. This is a really creepy sort of survival horror game. Time Spinner is a fantastic Metroidvania game with also some Castlevania elements to it, and it involves time travel, and it's just a lot of fun. A Robot Named Fight is basically what you would get if you took Super Metroid, turned it into a roguelike game, and added some unique elements to it. It's really good. Blaster Master Zero is a fantastic game in the Blaster Master series. Cave Story Plus is another one of the indie games that got me into indie games. It is a fantastic action-adventure game with a phenomenal story. Hollow Knight is a super difficult 2D Metroidvania Souls-like game, and it is a phenomenal game. Probably one of the best indie games out there right now. The Hotline Miami collection includes Hotline Miami 1 and 2, and these are incredibly difficult action games that require a lot of trial and error, but once you conquer a level, it feels oh so good. Human Fall Flat is a really fun and unique physics-based puzzle game that I highly recommend everybody play if you're a fan of this style of game. 1-2 Switch, you know, it has some fun to it, but it's more or less a tech demo for all of the unique features that the Nintendo Switch has to offer. Okay, so those are all of the games that I have played in my Switch collection. Now, in the interest of time, we're gonna very quickly go through the rest of the games in the Switch collection that I have not played. I'm just gonna hold them up in stacks of 10 and read them off. If you have anything you want to say about any of these games, throw that down in the comments. Here we go. Gianna Sisters Twisted Dreams, Monopoly, No More Heroes 2, Desperate Struggle, Pigeon Dev Games Collection, Cube 2, Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sega Genesis Classics, Tesla Grad, Martian Panic, and Ultra Core. Untitled Goose Game, The Wonderful 101 Remastered, Cuphead, The Blob and The Blob 2, Dragon Quest Builders 2, Faerun Collection, Samurai Jack Battle Through Time, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World the Game, and Sid Meier's Civilization 6. Super Blood Hockey, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Mighty Fight Federation, SNK 40th Anniversary Collection, Sonic Mania, Starlink Battle for Atlas, The Escapist 2, The Escapist Complete Edition, For the King, and Hover. Game Builder Garage, Nightmare Boy, The Persistence, Prinny 1 and 2, Exploded and Reloaded, Bayonetta 2, Blaster Master 03, Blazing Chrome, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2, Call of Juarez Gunslinger, and Castlevania Anniversary Collection. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD, I have of course played the Wii version, Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 and 2, Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2, Jumanji the Video Game, Katamari Damacy Reroll, Killer Queen Black, Kirby Star Allies, Knights and Bikes, Catherine Full Body, and Collection of Mana. And the final stack is Mega Man 11, Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight, Battle Princess Madeline, and Blaster Master 02. Whew, that was a lot of games to get through. And again, folks, for the games in my Switch collection that I have not played, let me know in the comments if you've played any of those, and tell me about the games, tell me why I should play them. Well, that's it, everybody. That is the current state of my Nintendo Switch collection. Hopefully you guys learned about a lot of games that you never heard of or didn't know existed. Hopefully you added some games to your own list that I was able to recommend to you, whether they be hidden gems or just really awesome games I think you should check out. But let me know in the comments down below if there are any physical Switch games that I should add to my collection that you really like, games that you recommend. Throw those in the comments down below. And also let me know what you think about the Switch collection. If there's any particular games that I talked about that you want to mention in the comments, I would love to chat with you about it.